Hello, everyone. It's Darren Price at syllabus.org. It's December 1st, 2014. It's been a long 15 days since I last saw you on November 15th with the love presentation. Today, we're going to talk about step number 3 to being God force, out of the 7 keys of being God force. We first talked about wisdom, and the last segment we talked about love. By the way, please pay attention to the color scheme that's going on, the underlined and the box text. Again, they are notes for you to write down and personally think about and how they relate to your life. And again, this whole complete 7-step presentation will be on PowerPoint for those that would like to order it. But there's a specific reason that I'm doing this, is reaching out to the youth, because you could do things so uniformly nowadays that people don't pay attention to it. And it's uniqueness that draws attention and keeps the attention of the youth, actually, by using color schemes and so on, and actually taking time to write things out and to show someone that you can start from any level and work your way up and be successful. But if you just be yourself and do what you know how to do and just grow from there and learn. So I know it's been a long, long November. Everybody had a good Thanksgiving, I'm sure. I know I did. I was glad to be around my family despite who was missing and the things that have changed in my life. But I'm successful and I'm glad and I'm happy because God is still in my life and He will always be. And my family is always my number one priority. So moving right along into awareness, we're going to talk about awareness today. Awareness is the state or the ability to perceive, to feel, or to be conscious of events, objects, thoughts, emotions, or sensory patterns. By the way, I go through this through a whole complete 15-day step, and I wait till the last minute because I compile all my information through 15 days at a time, and then I write this out. Broadly, it is a state or quality of being something. In biological psychology, for all you psychology majors out there, that brain is just too big to not be able to dumb things down so people can understand it. It is simply defined as a human's or an animal's perception and cognitive reaction to a condition or an event. Your perception is how you perceive things, how you see things in a certain situation, because everybody sees things different. So in that relates to your cognitive skills as far as how you react as well versus your perception. So just talk about a few types of awareness, just a couple. There's so many different ones, and I've listed quite a few, but it's a couple ones that I want to key on. So let's talk about covert awareness. And when I'm giving you these definitions, think about how they relate to your life. Have you ever been in any of these positions to where you've had to think about that? You may not even realize it. So being in a covert awareness is the knowledge of something without knowing it, aka blind sight. Not hindsight, but blind sight. So it's the knowledge of it. So we'll get further into that as we go. So just an example, if you're doing your work, if you're taking notes or whatever, what have you, set your pen or pencil down and you look back up at the professor, and then you just subconsciously you grab the pen, and your mind and your body reacts, your senses automatically shape your hand around to be able to pick up that pen, or whether it's a piece of paper or a book or something like that. So that's kind of what covert awareness is. Self-awareness. I know you hear self-awareness a lot. People never define it, but they tell you be self-aware. So self-awareness is the capacity for introspection and the ability to recognize oneself as an individual separate from the environment and other individuals. So let's break that down. Self-awareness is the capacity for introspection. And I know you may ask, what is introspection? Number one, it's the ability, it's the examination of your thoughts. So in other words, sit down sometime and just examine yourself. Take a look in the mirror. You'll see some of my other presentations. I have a mirror with me sometimes and I show it to you. And I tell you, look in the mirror. Examine yourself first. Introspection. It's the examination of your own mind. Take a look and see what's in it. Talk about it. Write it down. That's what introspection is. And having the ability to recognize oneself as an individual separate from the environment and other individuals. And it may not sound right to you, but if you sit down and examine your life and think about the things that you go through, people go through things that are similar to you, but they're not you. So that makes you an individual. That makes you separate from others. It makes you separate from the environment because we are our own independent soul and body and spirit. So we are already individuals and separate from the environment. We just have to recognize it. And that's part of what self-awareness is. It's defining who you are as an individual, not as a group of people. So some other terms as far as awareness are concerned, you have legal awareness, choiceless awareness, anesthesia awareness, spiritual awareness, situational awareness, breast cancer awareness. So some of these you've heard of before, some of them you've never heard of. So I know like everybody's heard about HIV awareness, breast cancer awareness, and awareness is simply the knowledge of a situation. So you may legal awareness, someone who may know the law well, inside and out, maybe on a political standpoint. But just because you read a few law books or you know a lawyer or somebody like that doesn't mean that you know law, that you're legal awareness, that you have legal awareness. But choiceless is interesting to me as I was reading along. Choiceless and spiritual awareness kind of go hand in hand. Choiceless is just being and not even knowing it. You're not even really thinking about it that you're aware. It's just you're automatically aware. It's not even thought about. It's just being. You do things on a regular basis every single day. You wake up, boom, you put on your clothes, boom, you go outside, you lock your door, you get in your car, you drive to work. Those are things that you do, but you really don't think about them. So those are choiceless examples of awareness. Spiritual awareness. We're going to get to that near the end, as always. Anesthesia awareness. Anesthesia awareness. An example of that is basically when you're on the operating table or at the dentist. That's when the doctors don't give you enough anesthesia to to make you unconscious so they can operate. So you might be on the table and think that the dentist gave you enough Novocaine, and all of a sudden you start feeling it, and you're like, ah. So I'm aware that you drilling on my teeth, and I'm aware that it hurts. So that's an example of anesthesia awareness. And feel free to Google these and look these up because these are actual terms. Situational, specific situations. I'm knowledgeable about specific situations, like legally. I have legal awareness. I have breast cancer awareness, being that my family is deeply rooted and has had it or have it, breast cancer. I know a lot about breast cancer. So therefore, I have breast cancer awareness inside of me. I have knowledge of it. I know exactly what's going on. So those are some examples. A couple of quotes I just want to shout out to you real quick. Meditation is the dissolution of thoughts in eternal awareness or pure consciousness without objectification, knowing without thinking, merging finitude in infinity. So we talked about some of those things. It just talks about covert awareness. It talks about self-awareness in that quote by Voltaire. Another one of my favorites right here, and this is very pertinent with what's going on today with Ferguson and all the killings and just the ridiculous, selfish motives and actions of other people by condemning other people, hurting them, separating themselves, separating your own family from each other, not speaking to each other, just doing things that aren't right and not of sound mind and body. Together, we can decrease the level of violence, raise awareness of our activities, and save lives around the world. The impact of a day of global ceasefire and nonviolence cannot be underestimated. Jeremy Gilley. Think about that. There's all kinds of awareness in this phrase. Covert, self, choiceless, spiritual. There's all kinds of awareness in this phrase. And it's important. And that's something that we should really be vibing off of right about now, especially with what's going on with our youth and the things that are happening. A couple other quick ones and we'll get into the spiritual awareness. It is our duty to give back to the community we live in and to the ones that we don't. Obviously, that's me. That's my quote. But again, the thought process is covert and self-awareness, spiritual awareness, and just common sense and knowledge of what it means, how it feels, and how to do it. So this is one of the ways that I'm exercising my own quote is I'm giving back. I'm sharing knowledge that I know and passing it on to someone else so they don't make the mistakes that I made and so that they can learn and be a better person, be a better individual, and gain their own knowledge of self. Apostle Paul in the Bible in Philippians 2:4 wrote, each of you should look not only to your own interests, but also to the interests of others. Philippians 2:4, Apostle Paul. Again, tells you don't be selfish because you'll never get anywhere. I mean, actions speak louder than words. You could talk 2 or 3 things at a time and it not mean nothing because your actions don't match. You should be aware of that. Most people who do wrong are well aware that they're doing wrong. And they can sit there and blame it on somebody else all they want. But trust me, if you're conscious, you're aware. Unconsciousness, I can see the difference. But if you're doing wrong and doing wrong by other people because of selfish reasonings, you're aware. You're conscious. And that means you're taking awareness to a negative sense, and that's what it's not to be used for. God is choiceless awareness. Because he's all knowing and all being, he's doing things without thinking about it. He doesn't have to think about it. And that's what he's trying to teach us as far as being individuals and being separate from the environment is loving one another without even thinking about it. When you question it, well, how do I love this person? It's easy, unconditional. I mean, there's no thinking, there's no thought process in unconditional love. There is in love because people want feedback. They want something in return, which is nothing wrong with that, but you can't just expect things in return all the time. You can't expect people to give you $100 back if you gave them $100. The least you should expect is a thank you. But sometimes you don't even get that. A lot of times you don't even get an apology for people that have hurt your feelings. But you still should love them unconditionally, choicelessly, as God loved us and still loves us. God has given you the gift of awareness. Take time to be introspective of him, and he will reveal himself to you covertly. So think about that phrase. And you have to move forward in life. And that's basically what this all boils down to. I mean, these things that I'm showing you and telling you and talking to you about, they're real. They're things that I've experienced. They're things that I've talked to other people that they've experienced. And they help you grow as an individual and help you find out who you are. But you can't do any of these things without God, is the bottom line. You can't do anything without God, no matter what. Times will get harder. The more and more you try to do better, the tougher it gets. Because a lot of people don't want to see you succeed without them having their 2 cents put into it. But you're a separate individual. So a lot of times their 2 cents is exactly what it is. 2 cents. That's it. But God is 100% no matter what. He never turns his back on you. He never decides, well, if you do this, what do I get? As human beings think, he doesn't think that way. He does it without even thinking, choicelessly. So he's given us the gift to think and be aware and use the covert attitude. Use the self-awareness attitude. Be pure about it. Think about other people and not be selfish, because you'll never get ahead. So I'd like to give a big shout out and thank you to April out on the West Coast. Thank you for the feedback from the love presentation. And again, share this with your kids. I have some other friends that give me great feedback from the videos. I know some people get up and listen to it as they get up and get ready for work. So appreciate the people that listen and not necessarily have to watch it, because I'm going to review everything with you that I'm writing down. So I appreciate that. And I look forward to seeing you, God willing, on December 15th. Happy holidays. Once again, let's not forget that Christmas is not about doing all this shopping and being greedy and getting things that everybody wants. How about focusing and getting things that people need, which could be a hug that's free, an apology that's free, something that they need, not something that they just want, because there is a big difference. So give love. If you can't give anything else, give love. Say you're sorry. Say I love you. Give somebody a hug. Do something for somebody you don't know. Smile at somebody. Be kind to one another. That's what we are here to do. And that way we can all be aware together on the same page. God bless you. Shout out to my friend Doris. Appreciate you as well. Take care.